Well, he attack me. But Jayden Chase, they have to make the fans them know what really are going on.
What you talking about? Is Jayden place? See me up to the time, a cartel. I represent for Jayden Chase. We spray them face on the AK race. See me up to the time, the Gaza station.
Yeah, man, now move settings nation. And no, we no need none of that. Now welcome to the channel. Yeah, man, Jayden Chase, another one. We're going to bring in another exciting reasoning on the topic of dancehall and entertainment. Remember, man, I'm reminding you now to click the subscribe icon, then the bell icon, and for also leave a like, a comment, and yes, what's a shape on the blogging truth. Now, this is powerful news, viewers and subscribers. American attorney, celebrity American attorney Thomas Mesereau is in full agreement with Isaac Buchanan and the defense team representing Vybz Kartel, Sean Storm, and other co-accused. First world justice is nothing like third world justice. Viewers and subscribers, when you hear the amount of evidence that the state had against OJ, even though he beat his case, and when you hear much evidence they had against Jackson, even though he beat his case, this will alarm you. But
a black man accused of murdering a white woman and a white man. And from the outside looking in, everyone felt he was guilty, but he got acquitted.
Yes.
Did you feel like OJ was innocent or guilty, from your point of view?
From my point of view, not being on the defense team, not knowing OJ, not having access to what the defense had access to, he looked very guilty. I mean, you had his blood at the crime scene. You had victim's blood in his van. You had blood at his home. Apparently his alibi that he was in Chicago didn't hold up completely. You had a lot to suggest that he did this. But what the defense did, the way they attacked, the way evidence was collected, the way it was transported, the way it was processed, the way it was stored, the way it was contaminated was just brilliant. It was a combination of Johnny Cochran, Barry Scheck, and Peter Neufeld were the preeminent DNA lawyers in America. Robert Shapiro, you had a F. Lee Bailey, you had a group of very talented lawyers who were able to combine their talents and get an acquittal in a case that looked overwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, years later, when he got convicted of trying to take his memorabilia back, and they gave him a sentence that almost seemed like it was revenge for him getting off earlier. Do you think that's what happened, or do you think that ultimately the sentencing was fair?
I think the sentencing was not fair. I think it was basically OJ and a bunch of his friends trying to get back what was rightfully his. Unfortunately, one or two, as I recall, I don't remember exactly, had a gun.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was really in jeopardy from what I heard. And it looked like a stupid thing to do in a hotel room in a casino, but it didn't merit 9 years in prison, not at all. This was payback.
It was payback. Well, at one point, I guess Charles Manson wanted you to represent him?
I did visit with Charles Manson in the mid-90s at Corcoran State Prison. Had about 3 hours with him. Fascinating time. I was contacted by some people who knew Charles Manson to ask if I was interested. I was not interested in getting involved in representing him at that point. The issues were primarily civil issues, and I did not get involved in that situation.
So, were you meeting and talking to him?
Yes.
What was Charles Manson like in person?
Very interesting. He had a very intense stare. He clearly was a bright person. I thought he was a little bit manipulative. You know, he would sort of be testing me to see what kind of a person I was and what could influence me and what would not influence me. He was sitting with one of his friends, a non-lawyer, to assist him. But very studying me very intently, but talking a lot, trying to get my reactions to what he said. And I had read Helter Skelter, but...
Yes, viewers and subscribers, now let's continue the reasoning. And this is something that was stated by the defense. What is happening, what took place in the trial is that not just third world and first world justice, but the fact that there were other powers at play. No matter the motions filed by the defense, they were overlooked by the judge that presided over the initial trial. Even during the appeal, if you see what go on, They had no evidence. What them choose to do I say yes based on the same evidence. After we pointed out the way the evidence was gathered. The fact that the evidence was tampered with. The fact that the phone was making calls while in the custody of the JCF. These things are unheard of. You can't do this in a first world country and feel like you can then still use that same device as evidence in a open court. No. No defense team would allow that. And them that file every motion what them could have filed. As a matter of fact, the TV crew that did it. And then that show the facts the constitutional rights are being violated. And one thing you do in a first world country. And I ramp with the people them rights. That's why some have stated that locally it's almost like the people have no rights. And this is why this case is so important. Because when you hear that constitutional rights were violated, which you are due to as a citizen of any sovereign country that you were born in, when you hear say your rights are being violated, then this is a case that is important to not just the individuals that are facing the charges, but also the wider public at large. Because when human rights are being violated, that means it could happen to anybody. This is a powerful case. And that is why the state has sought different means of delaying the process. All different kind of delay tactics. You see them try for style doing even the appeal itself. And then use the cloak of what was taking place worldwide to say, alright, here is the verdict. Knowing say, we already had laws in place that there was no public gathering, there was nothing like that was to be done for the public safety. So they know so nobody couldn't go out in the streets and voice some opinion. It couldn't look like a public outrage, knowing that we wanted to move everything forward to the Privy Council. The matter of a whole heap of delay tactics, it might not be noticeable to people who are not paying much attention to what is taking place. But when you can request as a lawyer for your defense and an exhibit that was used by the prosecution to convict your client, and you are saying you want to re-examine that exhibit, and the court has it, not the prosecutor, and the prosecutor can recommend to the court that the court does not hand over to you that piece of device. Why? The prosecution already used it. Why was it so important to not give them that piece? Them call it the smoking gun. Now what my court? So them call it, of course. And them now want to hand it over. The same piece of evidence where them use. Think about it. Even a Sean Storm case. Them say Sean Storm phone was what them a use for charge him as an accomplice or a co-conspirator, as they would say. But the said phone proves that Sean Storm did not leave his hometown community of Waterford during the time that the state said the situation took place. He was in his own community, and him phone proved that, because the cell tower closest to his community showed that his phone was pinging off that same cell tower. Now them say me that driver may call somewhere else than the island, so him phone never that ping off of the cell tower there so. And why is it that the same phone we are ping off of the cell tower in our hometown community are the same phone owner, same use, make the call them? Me not understand. And science not understand neither. And from science not understand science, something wrong. You can't be in two places at once. What kind of omnipresence them are trying to tell me say artists them have? It's not possible. The story does not add up. And that is why them now hand over the mobile devices. First world justice is nothing like third world justice. And the links are gonna do it in England. Let's push a thing with a done sort out already. I know Mama P have all the links you need to have as a Jamaican official. But on the links do it. And them say no. Go on home go answer to your charges them in a court. England now step in. No links no dead. Adjust the law. So I could see what go on. Because them time is up now. The travel ban is over. And if them say the device is not there when we show up for collect the device, then I feel like everybody in the office will go to prison. Maybe some people work a quarter for go to prison. Because I steal a critical piece of evidence out of court. So who would I watch it? So why they never want to give it up? Them did know it miss a long time. The amount of charges will get filed. Them have to push it out. Them can't push no more delay right now. Them last attempt was a travel ban. And now it done. Very interesting statements from Thomas Mezzaro. Now I mean, I feel like the people need to hear it. Talk to me, tell me how you feel about it. By the one called Jayden Chase, the dancehall correspondent, the Gaza representative, and I'm reminding you know if you're new to the channel, new to the movement, just a pass through. But they like the reason, and of course, they like the point of view. I'm suggesting to you that you click the subscribe icon, then the bell icon right after that. You know the something go. Yeah, man, now move settings, fam. And we no need no ladder. And my sentiments for you and yours are going to live, love, and prosper until we reason again.